What role, therefore, are these planes going to play in that key role?
Well, they can play an important role in terms of defence diplomacy by deploying on exercises. We conduct regional exercises with countries across the region. Hopefully we'll do them again with Indonesia shortly, but with Malaysia, with Singapore, Thailand, the Philippines. These countries all love to exercise with Australia, and when we do exercise with them, there's really a lot of relationship development that goes on while capabilities are tested and pilots get to train and exercise and improve their proficiency. So there's a lot of benefits that still apply. Stepping back from that, operationally, you've got to remember that when we talk about our ships, we're talking about them being part of a network, and the aircraft would be part of a network with those ships as well. So it's not inconsistent with what I said before, Scott. This is a complementary capability that can be used to add value to our defence engagement, our defence diplomacy, if you like, in the region. It complements what we're doing with our ships and all the other kind of engagement we are conducting across the region. And it's something also that I think the region can look on and say, you know what, it's actually probably good that Australia has this capability. Other countries like to benchmark themselves against what we do anyway. And for us to deploy with these kind of aircraft on exercises, be it in Thailand, the Philippines, Malaysia or elsewhere, they actually get some benefit out of this as well. So this is not something that needs to be seen as merely as something that is Australia and, you know, how do we compare with our regional neighbours? Yeah. This is something that is actually a win-win, if you like.
Looking at that region, Dr. Blaxland, given that, as you mentioned, Singapore, Korea, Japan are also looking at investing in these same F-35s, it is a regional issue, given that also Italy, Turkey and Canada are reconsidering the purchase of the same plane. Is this really a message not so much domestically by the Abbott government, but a message to the region that Australia really is a big player here? And I guess, how will that be received by a country like China?
Well, look, Australia has always sought to maintain a technological edge. We have an issue about numbers. The Australian Defence Force is one of the smallest in the region, but it's one of the most capable. And it is because the Australian governments, over the years, have continued to invest in maintaining the highest capability, the most advanced technology that is reasonable for them to be able to acquire at relatively reasonable expense. Now, I mean, $12 billion is not cheap. Let's not play this down. But we've got to put it in perspective. What are the options? The alternatives aren't really all that great, and so realistically, this is a viable and probably relatively cost-effective option.
John, how much is this about ensuring not only our own defence capabilities, our defence standing? How much is it also showing to the US, especially with their growing interest in the Pacific century, as they call it, that in this region Australia is a capable and strong ally?
Oh, look, there's no question. Australia is heavily invested in the US relationship, and the United States is heavily invested in Australia. The question is, what's in Australia's interests? I would argue it's in Australia's interests to leverage off that as much as we can. I mean, there's no realistic talk of changing horses midstream here. We don't have a viable option to go anywhere else other than with the United States technologically and in terms of capabilities, broadly. We've looked to Europe for various capabilities, but invariably we've had to make them compatible and work closely and integrated with United States systems. So this is not something that the Europeans are offering us a fifth-generation alternative fighter to compete with. It's not like in the past where we had, a European variant that we could match up against the F-35 and say, well, let's go for that instead. There isn't one. This is the fifth-generation aircraft on option. It's a lay-down misère, really.
Dr. John Blaxland joining us from Canberra. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, John.